गुड इव्हनिंग डॉक्टर साहेब.
गुड इव्हनिंग शशिकांत.
काय चाललंय? सगळं व्यवस्थित?
हो येस येस.
गुड 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 टू सी यू आफ्टर लॉंग.
बरं, तुला मिळालं ते प्रिस्क्रिप्शन? त्याप्रमाणे फॉलो कर.
हो हो, तेच चालू करतोय आता. तेच काल मिळालं त्याला.
चालू कर.
हो हो.
अच्छा,
व्हायला पाहिजे ना व्यवस्थित?
कारण एक हॅलो.
हा, व्हायला पाहिजे ना व्यवस्थित?
हो व्हायला पाहिजे. आणि तुला सांगायचं म्हणजे ते एक सांगितलं ना, मनोजचा एक फ्रेंड.
हो हो हो.
हा, मनोजचा फ्रेंड आहे, तो पूर्ण त्याचा रिव्हर्स झाला.
ओके,
त्याचा
ग्रेट.
पूर्ण मेडिकेशन वगैरे सगळं स्टॉप करायला लागलं. आणि त्याच्याबरोबर त्याचं हायपरटेन्शन मेडिकेशनचा डोस पण 50% ने कमी झाला.
ओ ओके ओके, ग्रेट.
शशिकांत योगेश बोल.
गुड.
शशिकांत
हाश
योगेश.
कोण योगेश? हा, योगेश देशपांडे का?
त्यांचं डाउनलोड झालं का डॉक्युमेंट?
हो हो, झालंय झालंय. तू काय केस कापली का काय? केस कट केली का?
योगेशने का?
हा, योगेशने केस कट केली बहुतेक. योगेश, डॉक्टर चंद्रकांत पण आहे लाईन वर, म्हणजे तो जॉईन झालाय.
हॅलो योगेश.
हो, बघितलं. बोला. नमस्कार.
नमस्कार योगेश.
नमस्कार.
नमस्कार नमस्कार योगेश भाई, नमस्कार.
नमस्कार नमस्कार.
योगेश, तुझा ऑडिओ व्यवस्थित नाही बरं का?
आम्ही करतो, सेट करतो. जरा मी साईडला येतो. बरं, फाईल डाउनलोड झाली का? किती साईज काय फाईलची रे?
फाईल डाउनलोड केली, पण जयंत अजून जॉईन झाला नाही.
सांगतो त्याला, फोन करून सांगतो मी. सांगतो त्याला.
एक मिनिट, आलाय का बहुतेक?
आता येतो का आवाज माझा?
येतोय, पण असं गळा दाबल्यासारखा येतोय.
आता येतोय आवाज माझा? आता येतो का आवाज माझा?
हा येतोय, पण गळा दाबल्यासारखं येतोय रे.
बर बर, मी परत जॉईन होतो. मी परत जॉईन होतो.
असू दे आता, काय त्याला. हाय शशिकांत.
मोबाईल आपण नोटच करतो, त्याच्यातून येते. त्यामुळे लोकांना जवळपास कसं काय
भूषण, काय तुमचे डॉक्टर स्लाइड्स आहेत काय?
हॅलो.
हा, स्लाइड्स वगैरे आहेत ना?
स्लाइड्स वगैरे आहेत ना?
ओके ओके, ठीक आहे, काय हरकत नाही. म्हणजे कसं की
स्क्रीन शेअर करीन.
हो हो, चालेल. ते आपण काय की 5:32ला 33ला चालू करूयात. ओके, अजून टाइम आहे, बरेचसे आता जॉईन होतील. कारण कसं की बराचसा क्राऊड 5:30च्या नंतर जॉईन होतो. पण म्हटलं पहिल्यांदा टेस्ट साठी काय जयंतला काही गोष्टी त्याला टेस्ट करायच्या होत्या.
बोला.
तो पण जॉईन होतोय.
स्क्रीन कसं शेअर करतात यार? स्क्रीन कसं शेअर करतात?
तू जर स्क्रीन वरती क्लिक केलं तर तुला शेअर स्क्रीन येतं खालती.
नाही रे, हा शेअर येते फक्त.
हा, त्याला त्याच्यावरती तू क्लिक केलं ना तर ते तुला जाता येतं.
हा,
त्याच्यावरती
नाही,
क्लिक
पण शेअर मध्ये काय क्लिक करायचं आहे? म्हणजे फोटो, डॉक्युमेंट, बॉक्स.
आता तुझं डॉक्युमेंट असेल तर डॉक्युमेंट करायचं आणि पीपीटी जिथे तू स्टोअर केली असेल ती सिलेक्ट करायची.
ओके,
त्याच्यावर बसू का?
मग यात डॉक्युमेंट वेगळा आणि
डायनिंग टेबल पुढे घेते जरा. घेतं का तुम्ही? पोरांनो, डायनिंग टेबल जरा मध्ये घेता.
हॅलो,
हा,
दोघ जण जरा डायनिंग टेबल येतं घ्या, मग सेंटरला घ्या. सेंटर
तशी आपण नंतर हे करूया.
हा, तू मला नंतर एकदा सांग जरा कसं स्क्रीन शेअर करायचंय.
हो हो हो, येस येस.
चल, थँक्स.
बरं, शशिकांत आला का? जयंत आलाय?
कम्फर्टेबल
गुड इव्हनिंग जयंत.
लाईट
डॉक्टर जयंत
ऐसा टर्न करो. हा
आले का तुम्ही?
आहे, आलाय.
हा, आवाज येतोय जयंतचा आवाज येतोय.
जयंत.
Hi Shashi, I'm here. Chandrakant, I'm here.
हाव आर यू?
Yes, good.
गुड टू सी यू.
एक करा सर.
आपले डॉक्टर चंद्रकांत पण आहेत उस्मानाबादचे.
Right. Shashi,
Do you
तू
remember,
slide
Dr.
share
Chandrakant?
करणार आहेस?
हा स्लाइड शेअर करणार आहे. हो
हो हो.
जयंत, तुझा व्हिडिओ सुरू करा जरा.
चार्ज होत नाही.
लाईट लागली की चार्ज होते.
लाईट बंद होते.
शशिकांत, माझा आवाज येतो का?
चार्जिंग बंद झालंय.
येतोय
आता
आता.
पहिल्यांदा लाईट.
चार्जिंग बंद आहे.
येतोय ना? बरं,
येतोय.
जयंतला व्हिडिओ करायचा ना ऑन एकदा. चेक होईल. हा, जयंत खंदारे
जयंत.
स्टार्टेड शेअरिंग स्क्रीन.
जयंत, तुझा व्हिडिओ चालू
येतोय
कर ना. लोकांना तुझा चेहरा बघायचा आहे.
चार्जिंग.
औषधी नाही अजून आलो.
हॅलो.
हॅलो.
हा जयंत, तुझा व्हिडिओ चालू कर म्हणे.
क्या हुआ? क्या हुआ?
ये साइड में गया इंजन के अंदर स्क्रीन ऑप्शन.
वो बंद कर दो. चार्जिंग हो रहा? चार्जिंग हो रहा है क्या?
चार्जिंग नहीं हो रहा. चालू करना त्याचा.
हो रहा है.
डॉक्टर
हा
चंद्रकांत.
हो रहा है. हा हॅलो शशिकांत.
हा, शेअर तुम्ही करताय का?
हा शेअर माझे स्क्रीन शेअर करतो मी.
ओके.
ओके.
एकदा टेस्ट करून घेऊयात, म्हणजे कसं की परत काही
शशी?
अडचण नको.
हा हो येस.
जयंत, गुड इव्हनिंग जयंत.
Good evening. Am I on the screen, Shashi?
हा, चांगला दिसतोय. स्क्रीन दिसतोय, तू दिसतोय स्मार्टली एकदम.
Okay, good.
येस.
Am I audible?
जयंत एव्हरग्रीन यार.
सर बिझी होईल सर, बाद में कॉल करेंगे.
Am I audible?
या.
हो.
So when does my time start?
Yours is second session. Okay, first session is
Okay.
of Dr. Chandrakant वाघमारे.
हॅलो.
ओळखतोस ना?
Okay. Yes. आमचा
उस्मानाबादचा
मित्र आहेत ना.
आपला गावाला.
Yes, I remember him. I hope he remembers me.
या. I think Jayant, you have started sharing the screen. So if you can stop sharing it, because let's say Chandrakant wants to share his presentation. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Chandrakant, आता तुम्ही you can start sharing.
हमारे क्लास में
कुछ भी हो रहा है. स्टार्ट.
शशिकांत,
हाँ.
ये आता है इसको निकालना.
रिबूट घ्यायचं सेशनचं करा, उद्याच असं कंटिन्यू करायचं.
नाही आपण रिपोर्ट करूयात. म्हणजे कसं आहे की काय होईल, नाही तर टाइम भरपूर जाईल तो. चंद्रकांत,
ठीक आहे, राहू दे मग. होईल तेव्हा नॉर्मल.
हा हॅलो.
स्क्रीन शेअर करून बघताय तुम्ही?
बोल शशिकांत.
शेअर करून बघतोयस तू?
हा शेअर करून तेच बघतोय. हो.
हा.
शेयर करना. शेयर तो जाएगा.
हा
येस. नाउ इट इज येस. ठीक
इट
आहे.
इज विजिबल नाउ.
या विजिबल.
ओके फाइन.
ठीक आहे. आपण आय थिंक लाईक से सगळेजण आल्यानंतर काय करू, काय रिजॉईन करूयात, बिकॉज काय तेवढा टाइम वाचेल आपल्याला. 30-40 मिनिटाचा टाइम आपल्याला मिळू शकेल सगळा.
ओके
कंटिन्यू करायचं. योगेश
काय म्हणतोय?
I think let's continue. Okay, and then like say when session will get
बरं,
end, then like say we will rejoin na.
ओके चालेल चालेल
So,
चालेल काय हरकत नाही. मग त्यांना आपण सांगूया, आयडिया देऊया, तसं हेडसअप देऊया.
ठीक आहे. तू बोलतोयस की मी बोलू? बोल तू.
मी बोलतो.
बोल.
इव्हनिंग ऑल. आता अजून एक 3-4 मिनिटापर्यंत लोक जॉईन होत राहतील. 2-3 टिप्स आहेत. साधारणतः 35 ते 40 35व्या मिनिटाला शशिकांत आपल्याला एक मेसेज पाठवेल की साधारणतः 5 मिनिटांमध्ये रिबूट होतोय, कारण या झूमची सेटिंग अशी आहे की ते 40 ते 45 मिनिटांमध्ये रिस्टार्ट होतं. हा, तर त्यावेळेला डोंट गेट कन्फ्युज्ड, प्लीज जॉईन बॅक अगेन विथ sometimes it gets automatically connected or sometimes you have to press the link again. Second thing, presenter आणि आम्ही दोघं ऍडमिन सोडल्या व्यतिरिक्त बाकीच्यांनी त्यांचा म्यूट ठेवावा स्पीकर, म्हणजे देर विल बी अ व्हेरी क्लीन अँड रिसेप्टिव्ह प्रेझेंटेशन. आणि बॅकग्राऊंड मध्ये जर आपल्या फॅमिलीमध्ये कोणी जर डिस्टर्बन्स किंवा हे करत असेल तर दुसऱ्या रूम मध्ये येऊन केलेलं जास्त बरं राहील. सो देर विल बी नो डिस्टर्बन्स एज सच. Please be away from TV or any other devices, so there will be no electronic disturbance as well. हा झाला एक जनरल प्रोटोकॉल. कोणाला प्रश्न वगैरे विचारायचे असतील तर either you can send the chat or raise your hand, so Shashikant would manage that further. या झाल्या बेसिक टिप्स. आणि आता माझ्यामध्ये शशिकांत इंट्रोड्यूस करणार आहे का मी इंट्रोड्यूस केलं तर चालणार आहे? शशिकांत
कर, काहीच हरकत नाही.
माझ्यामध्ये 5:32 झालेलेच आहेत, आपण इंट्रोड्यूस करायला हरकत नाही. आपल्याकडे आज 2 एमिनंट स्पीकर आहेत, दोघंही डॉक्टर आहेत. एक डॉक्टर वाघमारे आणि एक डॉक्टर जयंत खंदारे. एक 1990च्या पास आउट आहे, एक 1988 पास आउट आहेत. दोघांनी त्यांच्या फील्डमध्ये बरेचशी अचिव्हमेंट्स केलेले आहेत आणि दे आर डुईंग अ व्हेरी गुड जॉब फॉर द ह्युमन मॅनकाइंड. आणि ऑब्विसली वी शुड बी प्राऊड, बोथ आर अजिंक्यन्स. तर मी जास्त न इंट्रोडक्शन करता चंद्रकांत इन्व्हाइट करतो.
मीटिंग चालू आहे.
लियाकत जी, आपण आपला व्हॉल्यूम प्लीज म्यूट करा तुम्ही.
आर्मी नेव्ही एअरफोर्सचे ऑफिसर्स जे असतात टॉप लेवलचे ते
कोणीतरी बोलतोय, जरा प्लीज.
लियाकत नदाफ म्हणून जे आहेत ना, त्यांनी ते त्यांचा मायक्रोफोन, सगळेजण प्लीज जरा तुमचा मायक्रोफोन म्यूट केला तर बरं होईल. थँक्यू.
एनिवे, बेसिक इंट्रोडक्शन झालेलं आहे. तर मी पहिल्या सेशनचा स्पीकर जे आहेत डॉक्टर चंद्रकांत वाघमारे, 1990 पास आउट. ही इज अ व्हेरी रेप्युटेड डॉक्टर इन सोलापूर. सो आय हँड इट ओव्हर टू डॉक्टर चंद्रकांत टू शेअर हिज प्रेझेंटेशन अँड make us aware of all the good things that he has been doing for Ajinkyans. Chandrakant, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Yogesh. Good evening, all of you, dear Ajinkyans. Good evening. Nice to meet all of you on this virtual platform, Zoom. Good. And I'm very happy to share my knowledge, expertise with you all. So the topic assigned to me is diabetes reversal. So before going for the topic of diabetes reversal, I would like to first acquaint you all with what is diabetes. So diabetes is as you all must be knowing, it is a very common metabolic or endocrine disorder that is prevalent not only in our country but also in the world. And it is taking a very heavy toll on the humanity worldwide. And of late, there is a surge in the incidence of diabetes in our country because of the changing lifestyles of the people, like sedentary lifestyle, having different dietary habits because of the growing middle class, like eating fast food, lack of exercise, lots of stress at workplace, at home. All these factors are taking a heavy toll in terms of diabetes mellitus, hypertension, and heart disease. So today I would like to shed light on this diabetes and diabetes reversal. So basically, diabetes is an endocrine disorder. It is characterized by hyperglycemia, that is excessive blood sugar level. We all know that diabetes म्हणजे शुगर वाढली, diabetes म्हणजे शुगर वाढली असं आपण त्याला ओळखतो. तर it is much more than that. It is basically a total derangement of metabolism of fat, protein, and carbohydrates in our body. And it is because of either lack of insulin secretion or lack of insulin action in the body. तर this is about the introduction to diabetes. मग diabetes चे types कुठले आहेत? There are mainly two types of diabetes which are seen in the clinical practice. One is the type 1 diabetes and the other one is the type 2 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes बद्दल सांगायचं झालं तर तो usually it affects the younger children or adolescents and it is basically an autoimmune disorder. म्हणजे आपली बॉडीची इम्युन सिस्टमच आपल्या पॅनक्रियासच्या बीटा सेल्सच्या अगेन्स्ट काम करते आणि त्यांना नष्ट करते आणि त्यामुळे जो डायबिटीस होतो तो अतिशय सिव्हिअर फॉर्म ऑफ डायबिटीस असतो आणि आपण त्याला म्हणतो टाईप 1 डायबिटीस मेलाइटस. आणि याची ट्रीटमेंट म्हणजे इट इन्व्हॉल्व्स ओनली इन्सुलिन. त्याला इन्सुलिन शिवाय काही पर्याय नसतो. आयुष्यभर इन्सुलिन घेणे हाच त्याला एक उपाय असतो. आणि दुसरं म्हणजे टाईप 2 डायबिटीस. टाईप 2 डायबिटीस हा जनरली एल्डरली ओबेस लोकांमध्ये होतो. Earlier it used to happen after the 40s. It was the disease of the after the 40s, but because of the changing lifestyles the age has been preponed greatly, so that we can see the cases of diabetes even in children, even in adolescents, and even so there is no age bar even for type 2 diabetes nowadays. So type 2 diabetes is because of lack of an insulin action in the body. Insulin is there but insulin is not able to act in the body. That is the basic problem with type 2 diabetes. And what are the risk factors for diabetes mellitus? Risk factors for diabetes mellitus I would like to share on my screen. Yes, now you can see here the risk factors for the diabetes mellitus type 2. I'll be focusing more on type 2 diabetes because it is the type of diabetes we are dealing with. Diabetes is, it accounts for only 5 to 10% of the type 2 diabetes. So I would like to share these risk factors for type 2 diabetes mellitus. So you can see here lack of exercise. Regular aerobic exercise is a must. It must be a part of everyone's routine. It is not everyone must do regular aerobic exercise. In the absence of regular aerobic exercise is a risk factor for diabetes mellitus type 2. Then positive family history. It is a basically genetically determined. So if any of the parents or any of the siblings have type 2 diabetes, then the person has a very high risk of diabetes. Then the third important risk factor is obesity or overweight status. So anyone who is obese or overweight is a person liable to get diabetes mellitus. It's a very important risk factors for diabetes mellitus. How do you find this obesity or overweight status? So it can be determined by two criteria. You measure your height and your weight, and you can put these parameters in the online calculators for BMI. And if you get a BMI of 23 or more, it is overweight status. If it is beyond 25, it is obesity. So overweight persons and obese persons are prone to diabetes mellitus, and therefore it is very important to keep our weight in the normal range, that is the healthy range, between BMI between 18.5 to 9. Then unhealthy eating practices. So nowadays we know that everyone is going after junk food, pizza, burgers, then these soft drinks. All these are taking these are becoming a very important cause of diabetes mellitus. So because these pizza, burgers, they contain refined carbohydrates. They are made up of maida, which is rapidly absorbed in the body, and it accounts for the obesity or the overweight status, leading to the becoming a risk factors for diabetes mellitus. Moreover, the soft drinks which we drink, younger generation is after soft drinks. These soft drinks, they alter the satiety center. The satiety center is a center in our brain which controls our hunger. Now, when you take cold drinks, the satiety center is elevated, the threshold is elevated at a higher level, so that you go on eating. There is a tendency to overeat, leading to the again obesity and overweight status, leading to the diabetes mellitus. So these are the important risk factors for diabetes mellitus type 2: lack of exercise, overweight status, positive family history, and unhealthy eating habits. And in addition to this, again I would say sedentary lifestyle. anyone who is sitting daily for prolonged hours, maybe 4 hours, 6 hours, maybe our IT friends, they have to sit for very long hours, maybe 6 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours. So anyone who is sitting for prolonged hours, we label it as a sedentary lifestyle. And that can be one of the factors for the diabetes mellitus. So these are some of the risk factors of diabetes mellitus. Now coming to the clinical features of diabetes mellitus. Diabetes mellitus is basically a silent killer, just like hypertension. Most of the patients of diabetes, they won't have any clinical features. Only the patients who have type 1 diabetes or very severe form of diabetes, they may have symptoms like polyphagia, that is overeating, increased thirst, increased hunger, increased urination, signs of immunosuppression leading to a number of infections, sudden weight loss. So these are the defined clinical features, but remember, most of the patients do not have any symptoms of diabetes. And if the patients present with some of the clinical features, then you can have this. You can see on the screen fatigue, frequent urination, increased hunger, sudden weight loss, increased thirst, then sexual disturbances. This is again a very important factor. Diabetes can lead to impotence. So it can definitely lead to the sexual problem. So that can be one of the presenting features of diabetes mellitus. Increased incidence of infections, especially genital infections, vaginal, and infections of the even the male genital tract are very common in patients with diabetes. Then the patients may present with tingling and numbness of hands and feet. Hatapayala munge येणं. This is a very common again symptom of the diabetes mellitus. And some of the patients, apart from this symptom, some of the patients, they directly present with the complications of diabetes like heart disease, stroke, or peripheral. They may present with gangrene of the limbs and other complications. So these are the clinical features of diabetes mellitus. Largely it is asymptomatic, but if the patient has symptoms, then this can be some of the symptoms, as you can see on the screen. Then coming to the why we need to treat diabetes. Diabetes, it's a chronic disease. It doesn't have any cure, but we can definitely control it with medications and with the specific lifestyle changes. And if you don't control diabetes, then it can lead to the complications like heart disease. So diabetes is a very, very important risk factors for the development of heart disease. Patients with long-standing diabetes, they do develop coronary heart disease. They develop stroke. They develop gangrene of the limbs. That is, they also develop peripheral vascular disease. They develop a complication called diabetic retinopathy, leading to the blooding of vision and then impairment of vision. It may lead to the blindness. Then it can lead to the diabetic nephropathy. That is, it can affect the adversely affect the kidneys, leading to the chronic renal failure. So that is a very important cause of chronic renal failure in India. The diabetic nephropathy, diabetic neuropathy. So all these complications can be avoided if you diagnose diabetes at a very early stage, and if you control that with medications, and also with the desirable lifestyle changes like regular aerobic exercise, proper dietary plan, leading a stress-free life, and so on. So I'll be coming to that. So these are some of the some of the reasons why we should detect and treat diabetes at a very early stage. Then coming to the diagnostic criteria of diabetes mellitus, as you might all be knowing, the diagnosis of diabetes is based on the blood sample is collected, and we test the blood sugar level of the patient. So as I have shared on my screen, the diagnostic criteria for the diabetes mellitus, in the normal persons, the fasting blood sugar level should be normally less than 100 milligrams per deciliter, and 2 hours after the meal, that is the postprandial sample, that should lead to the blood sugar level of less than 140 milligrams per deciliter. This is the normal range. So normally fasting blood sugar level should be less than 100 milligrams per deciliter. That is fasting sample without any food, without any meal, just before breakfast. That sample is taken and that is then analyzed. And after 2 hours after the meal, if the sample is collected, we call that postprandial sample, and the blood sugar level should be less than 140 milligrams per deciliter. And then if the blood sugar level, fasting level is 126 or more milligrams per deciliter, then it can be a diagnostic criteria for the diabetes. And if the postprandial blood sugar level is more than 200 or more, it is again becomes a diagnosis of diabetes. But nowadays we have identified a different category of people who are on the verge of getting diabetes, and that we call it pre-diabetes. So in that category, the fasting blood sugar level is between 100 to 125 milligrams per deciliter, and the postprandial, that is the post-lunch blood sugar level, is between 140 to 199 milligrams per deciliter. So these pre-diabetics, they don't need treatment, but these people can develop diabetes in the coming months or coming years. And so they need special attention. They need to be put on rigorous lifestyle modification schedule so that we can reverse this condition and the person can lead a normal life. So that was about the diagnosis of diabetes mellitus. The complications of diabetes mellitus, I want you all to know about the complications. Don't take diabetes because diabetes is a major cause of heart disease, coronary heart disease, stroke. Then it is a major cause of renal failure. It is a major cause of blindness. It is a major cause of neuropathy. It is a major cause of peripheral vascular disease. So there are n number of complications with diabetes. So never take diabetes lightly. You stick to your medication, adhere to the prescription by the doctor, and complement that with the lifestyle modifications that I will be advising you. So this of late, there has been the advent of a new specialty in medicine, that is lifestyle medicine. And there has been a focus on this lifestyle medicine because lifestyle medicine can enable us to reverse some diseases to a great extent. So I'll be focusing on this diabetes reversal in today's lecture. So we all know that we have different types of medications for diabetes mellitus. We have got orally taken drugs, that is oral anti-diabetic drugs, sulfonylureas, metformin. A number of recent new drugs have management of diabetes mellitus. And then for the patients who are not controlled with oral medications, they can be given insulin. Patients with type 1 diabetes, they are to be given insulin. So insulins on one hand and the oral anti-diabetic drugs on other hand. We have excellent drugs to manage to control the diabetes mellitus. To control the diabetes mellitus from the treatment of diabetes mellitus to the reversal of diabetes mellitus. So what is this disease reversal? So with regard to diabetes, I would like to stress that in the recent years, in the last year, there was a very important clinical trial conducted in the UK by a very renowned physician, Dr. Roy Taylor. And so far in our medicine books, we have a very ambiguous pathophysiology of diabetes mellitus. But of late, Dr. Roy Taylor has done excellent work in this field. He did MRI of all the diabetic patients coming to his hospital, and he did MRI of liver and pancreas, and found that all the patients with diabetes have fat deposits in the pancreatic beta cells as well as the liver. So that was a very new finding, and he found that he put all these patients on a rigorous lifestyle modifications, like he gave them a very low calorie diet, he put them on exercise, and it was found that after few months, after 6 to 7 months of time duration, the fat disappeared from liver and the pancreas, and that correlated with the clinical benefit to the patient. That is, the blood sugar level of these patients was normal without any medication, and he called this diabetes reversal. And so this is a very pioneering work in diabetes mellitus. So now we clearly know that the exact cause of diabetes. We may point to these fat deposits in the pancreas and the liver as a very new finding, leading to the new pathophysiological development in the diagnosis of diabetes mellitus. So what can be done? How we can't subject ourselves to MRI scans of liver and pancreas. Every diabetic patient is not supposed to do that. But then how to know that we have whether a person has fat deposits in the liver and pancreas? So very simple thing. You just take a measuring tape and you put that measuring tape around your umbilicus region, and in the mid expiration you measure the waist circumference. If the waist circumference in the males is more than 90 centimeters, you have the fat in the abdomen, and you may have fat deposits in the liver as well as in the pancreas. And if in the females, if it is more than 80 centimeters waist circumference, then it means that there is abdominal fat deposits there in the either in the liver or in the pancreas, and that person is prone to diabetes mellitus. So this is a very simple clinical test that I do in my clinic, measuring the waist circumference of all the patients. And secondly, measuring the body mass index. So body mass index can be easily measured by taking our height and weight, and we can put these values in the online calculators for BMI. And if the BMI is between 18.5 to 22.9, then we consider it as normal. Anything between 23 to 25 is a overweight status, and anything above 25, it is a gross obesity. And overweight and the obese persons are prone to diabetes mellitus. So obesity is a major risk factor for diabetes mellitus. So based on this, Dr. Roy Taylor put his patients on the diabetes reversal program. So can we reverse diabetes? Remember, diabetes is not curable. It is not, there is no cure for diabetes. But by adopting lifestyle modifications, you can definitely decrease your requirement of the medications for diabetes. You can decrease the doses of insulin. You can decrease the doses of oral anti-diabetic drugs, or you can, if the diabetes is of very recent origin, if the patient is young and is able to very well practice the lifestyle medications modifications in Lateran spirit, then even there can be complete reversal. And if at all we achieve reversal, that will remain there for around 10 years. That was the finding of Dr. Roy Taylor. So for 10 years, you can completely lead a very normal life without any medication. But after 10 years, again, there is a risk of getting the derangement in the blood sugar level. So one has to keep this lifestyle modifications going. So that is a very important factor. So if you have diabetes mellitus and you are taking medications, either insulins or oral anti-diabetic drugs, so I'll advise you to do regular aerobic exercise. Now, what do you mean by regular aerobic exercise? Aerobic exercise is a very unique form of exercise which involves a large group of skeletal muscles in our body. So what are the forms of regular aerobic exercise? It can be brisk walking is the best exercise that is feasible for everyone. Regular brisk walking can be an excellent form of aerobic exercise. It can be cycling, it can be jogging, it can be playing basketball, tennis, badminton, it can be swimming. All these are different forms of the regular aerobic exercise. So one has to adopt to one of these forms of exercise. So I would, for everyone's feasibility, this brisk walking is the best form of exercise. It is feasible for everyone. So what is the duration of exercise? How much time you should walk daily? So that your target should be minimum 30 minutes of regular aerobic exercise, regular brisk walking per day on at least 6 days a week. So 30 minutes a day for 6 days a week. You can take a break on Sunday. And what should be the intensity of brisk walking? So actually, the intensity of the exercise is measured as per the heart rate, but it's not feasible for everyone to measure the heart rates while doing exercise. So I will tell a very simple benchmark. Whenever you are doing brisk walking, if you are able to complete a sentence in one breath, then it is a moderate intensity exercise, and that is what we desire. we want you to we should exercise at a moderate intensity, and so that you can complete one sentence in a breath, but you should not be able to sing. So prolonged sentence you should not be able to utter. So that is the benchmark for a moderate intensity brisk walking. You do that for 30 minutes daily for at least 6 days a week. And remember, in our swimming school, we were taught how to warm up and then cool down. I now realize the importance of this warming up and cooling down. So warming up for 10 minutes before this exercise is a must. And then cooling down after completing this 30 minutes of exercise is a must. So 10 minutes of warm up and 10 minutes of cooling down is a must for everyone. So this warming up means what? Doing the exercise at a lower intensity. म्हणजे नॉर्मल वॉकिंग करणं 10 मिनिटं, जेणेकरून आपले स्केलेटल मसल्स वॉर्म होतील, आपलं हार्ट थोडंसं ऍक्टिव्हेट होईल, हार्टवरती लोड येणार नाही, त्यासाठी हे अतिशय आवश्यक असतं. सो वॉर्म अप फॉर 10 मिनिट्स, then start the regular exercise, then after completing that exercise you cool down gradually for next 10 minutes. So this should be the schedule. So but you only count these 30 minutes, don't count warm up and cooling down in the exercise schedule. So if you do that regularly, then you will be able to decrease your medication. You will be able to nicely control your diabetes mellitus. Your requirements for the medication requirements will be decreased, and maybe if you lose 10 to 15 kg of weight by means of exercise or dietary plan, you can reverse your diabetes at least for 10 years. Then dietary changes. You got to make very important dietary changes. So in that, you have to cut down your carbohydrate intake. You have to cut down your carbohydrate intake. So you should have a very balanced diet and eat less of carbohydrates. Maybe you should cut down these refined carbohydrates. मैद्यापासून बनलेले सगळे पदार्थ, ब्रेड, मैद्यापासून बनलेल्या चपात्या, पोळ्या, सगळं वर्ज्य, हे अजिबात नाही घ्यायचं. मैद्यापासून बनलेले बिस्किट, बेकरी प्रोडक्ट्स, केक अजिबात नाही. याच्यामुळे काय होतं की यानं तुमचं ग्लायसेमिक इंडेक्स वाढतो आणि प्रचंड ब्लड शुगर लेवल वाढते आणि डायबिटीस इज दे नॉट कंट्रोल प्रॉपरली. सो कट डाऊन ऑन रिफाइंड कार्बोहायड्रेट्स. ईट होल सिरियल्स, म्हणजे पूर्ण गहू न चालता गव्हाच्या केलेल्या पोळ्या ह्या खायला पाहिजेत. ज्वारीच्या भाकरीपेक्षा गव्हाची चपाती असते ती चांगली राहील, कारण त्यामध्ये त्याचा ग्लायसेमिक इंडेक्स कमी आहे, त्यातून कार्बोहायड्रेट्स लेस ऍब्सॉर्ब होतात. आणि न चालता त्याचे ते चाळून केलेलं तर ते मैदाच होतो त्याचा. त्यामुळं you have to go for whole cereals, then lentils, डाळी, कडधान्य खाल्ली पाहिजेत. होल कडधान्य, त्यातलं कव्हर न काढता, म्हणजे मूग असेल, मटकी असेल, राजमा असेल, चवळी असेल, हे जर आपण घेतलं आहारामध्ये तर यानं आपल्याला विल गेट ॲडिक्वेट अमाऊंट ऑफ कॅलरीज ऑल्सो अँड यू विल गेट ॲडिक्वेट अमाऊंट ऑफ न्यूट्रिशन. So cut down on carbohydrates, especially refined carbohydrates. Then keep a balance of proteins and eat plenty of green vegetables and fruits. There is no bar on that. Eat plenty of green vegetables. There is no bar even for diabetics. And there are some fruits which are restricted to be taken by the diabetics. These include apparently sweet fruits like mangoes, then custard apple, muskmelon, then pineapple. So these and chiku, all these fruits should be avoided by the diabetics because they have a very high high glycemic index. You can have plenty of apples, pears, berry kind of fruits, strawberries and other berries. You can have guava. So these fruits can be had by diabetics very safely. Then you have to have green salad in your diet. Kakdi, gajar. You must have your 50% of your plate should be occupied by the green salad and green vegetables. That is a must. That is a very important advice for the diabetics. That will then शारीरिक हालचाली वाढवणे. This means I want to imbibe upon this sedentary lifestyle. How to modify your sedentary lifestyle. So you can see here the foreign countries, they are embracing this standing workstation. You can see here the lady doing work, the standing position. So anyone who is sitting for prolonged hours, these are prone to diabetes, hypertension, heart disease and cancers. So for these people, a very simple advice, you simply